Almost nothing that worries you today will matter 10 years from now. Choose your worries carefully. They are expensive. Fifth, tell people you love them. Out loud. Don't assume they know. My wife assumed I knew, and I did, but I would give everything to hear her say it one more time. Sixth, the truth I told you to wait for. Regret is far heavier than failure. I have failed at many things. I have lost money, I have lost arguments, and I have lost pride. Those failures don't keep me awake at night. What keeps me awake are the things I didn't do, the words I didn't say, the risks I didn't take. Failure is a bruise, it heals. Regret is a ghost, it haunts. If you are sitting on the fence about something that makes your heart beat faster, jump. Even if you fall, at least you'll know. Knowing is a mercy. Wondering what if for 40 years is a slow poison. In the final minute of this video, I'm going to tell you the one thing that actually makes sense when you reach the end of the road. Don't leave yet. This is the reason I made this video. And seventh, kindness is the only legacy that survives. People will forget your house, they will forget your car, they will forget your title, but they will never, ever forget how you made them feel. I spent so much energy trying to be respected, trying to be powerful, trying to be important. But looking back, the only moments that feel important now are the moments I was kind. The time I helped a neighbor without being asked. The time I actually listened to my daughter's rambling story about a ladybug. The time I was patient when I wanted to be angry. Those tiny invisible threads of kindness are the only things that don't burn away. They are the only things that stay behind when you are gone. I want you to pick a date, not a vague feeling. A date, because the universe doesn't owe you tomorrow. I've buried too many people who thought it did. There was a man who wronged me in 1974. I carried that wound for 48 years. I thought about him when I woke up and before I slept. I would rehearse arguments with him in the shower. I imagined 1,000 times what I would say if I ever saw him again. I followed his life from a distance, waiting for him to fail in some public, satisfying way. He never failed. He lived an ordinary life and died in 2022. When I heard he was gone, do you know what I felt? Nothing. 48 years of carrying a wound, 48 years of letting that man live in my head rent-free, and when he finally left, nothing. No satisfaction, no peace, only the terrible realization that I gave a stranger almost half a century of my inner life, and he didn't even know. I was the only one suffering the whole time. Forgiveness isn't a gift you give to them. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It's the only way to evict the unwanted tenant. If you've hated someone for years, let it go. Not for them, for you, for the 48 years you might still have. I'm about to give you the 7 hard truths I wish I knew at your age. If you only remember one thing from this video, let it be truth number 6. I want to give you something. If you've made it this far, I owe you more than just my regrets. I want to give you what I wish a stranger had told me at your age. First, you are not here to be remembered. You are here to be present. Those who love you don't need you to be famous. They need you to be home. Second, your job is not your worth. You could lose your job tomorrow, and you would still be the same soul. Don't let a paycheck tell you who you are. Third, the body you complain about today is the body you will pray for 40 years from now. Be kind to it. Fourth, my father has been dead for 41 years. My neighbors are dead too. And the version of me that could have existed, that different man, in that different country, living that different life, he died the moment I said no. I've been grieving for him ever since, and I didn't even know it. So let me ask you something. That thing you're afraid to try, the change, the message, the business, the apology, the confession, what is the worst that can actually happen? You look foolish for a week. Let me tell you, looking foolish for a week is nothing. Nothing. What is something is this chair, this old body, this silent room, and the ghost of the man you couldn't sitting across from you saying, "Why didn't you try?" When you're young, time feels infinite. When you're my age, time feels like sand that has already fallen through the hourglass, and you're standing there holding the empty glass, wondering where it all went. If you've ever used the words someday or not yet, the next 2 minutes might be the most uncomfortable and necessary thing you'll ever hear. I used to say someday like other people say hello. It was a reflex. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll call my brother. Someday I'll learn the piano. Someday I'll apologize. Someday I'll rest. Someday, someday, someday. Do you want to know how many of those somedays actually arrived? Maybe 3 or 4 out of hundreds. The rest of them are still inside me, like letters I never mailed. I can feel them pressing against the walls of my chest, and there is nothing I can do now. It is too late to mail those letters. The people I would send them to are gone. The version of me that could do those things is gone. The energy, the body, the courage, it's all gone. Someday is the most dangerous word in the English language, because someday is how a life ends without ever having begun. If there is something you've been saying someday to for more than a year, and it wasn't her fault, it was mine. She tried for decades, I just wasn't there. If there is someone in your life right now, a partner, a parent, a child, a friend, who has been silently waiting for you to truly see them, please, put this phone down, go to them, ask a real question, and then, for God's sake, really listen to the answer. You won't get another chance. I am the living proof of that. Most people are afraid of the wrong things. In the next few minutes, I'll show you why the thing you're currently avoiding is actually your biggest mistake. Let me tell you what I was afraid of for most of my life. I was afraid of looking foolish. I was afraid of what people would say. I was afraid of being judged, of being wrong, of being laughed at, of being seen as less. I was afraid of small things, tiny things, things that from where I'm sitting now are so meaningless I can barely remember why they scared me. I wasn't afraid of the right things. I wasn't afraid of wasting time. I wasn't afraid of emotional. And I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone. I didn't really know her. I knew her name. I knew her favorite flowers. I knew the sound of her footsteps in the hallway and the way she cleared her throat before saying something she thought I wouldn't like to hear. But I didn't know her soul. I never asked what she dreamed of when she was a little girl. I never asked what she was afraid of. I never asked what she would have done with her life if she hadn't married a man who was always, always, always somewhere else. 54 years. And I never asked. Because I thought there would be time. I thought the real conversations were something we would do later. After the mortgage was paid, after the kids grew up, after I retired. Later, later, later. And then on a Tuesday at 4:17 p.m., there was no more later. There is a kind of loneliness that only appears when you realize that the person you loved most in the world was a stranger to you. Distance. I wasn't afraid of the silent erosion of my own soul. I wasn't afraid of spending an entire decade without doing a single thing that actually mattered to me. I was afraid of embarrassment. And embarrassment in the end is a currency that buys absolutely nothing. There was a man, when I was 32, who offered me a job. It wasn't a job that paid better. It was a different kind of work that would have taken me to a different country, a different life, a different version of myself. And I said no. Not because I didn't want it. I wanted it so much I dreamed about it for weeks. I said no because I was afraid of what my father would think, of what my neighbors would think, of what would happen if I tried, failed, and had to come back home defeated. I missed those quiet Sunday mornings when my wife would make coffee and wait for me on the porch with 2 mugs. She waited a long time, until one morning she stopped waiting. I didn't even notice the second mug was missing for nearly a year. That is how deep I was in the someday trap. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, I'm going to share the one specific realization that changed how I see every single hour I have left. I didn't realize she had stopped waiting for nearly a year. That's how consumed I was by my own ambition. My wife stopped pouring that second cup of coffee, and I didn't even notice. I built a career. I made money. I had a name in my industry, a small name, but a name. People shook my hand at conferences. Younger men called me sir. I had an office with a window and a view of a city I never truly stopped to look at. And do you know what I've learned now at 85? No one remembers any of it, not a single person. The company I gave 32 years of my life to was sold, restructured, and absorbed into something else. My office is now a cleaning closet. My awards are in a cardboard box in the garage. My business cards are in a drawer I haven't opened in 15 years. I traded my only life for a title on a door that doesn't even exist anymore. Internal CTR hook. If you are chasing a promotion or a number in your bank account right now, you need to hear the question I'm about to ask. If you're chasing something right now, a promotion, a status, a version of yourself that the world will finally applaud, I want you to pause and ask yourself, when all of that is gone, what will be left of you? Because I promise you, most of what you are running after will vanish. My wife's name was Eleanor. She died 11 years ago on a Tuesday at 4:17 in the afternoon. I remember the time because I was looking at the clock when the nurse walked in and told me I was married to her for 54 years. I am 85 years old, and if I could go back in time right now, I would burn almost everything I've built to the ground and start again. I know what you're expecting. You expect a man my age to show up on camera and tell you that life is a gift, that every moment was a blessing, and that I wouldn't change a thing. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm too close to the end to lie. The truth is, I wasted my life. Not all of it, but most of it. And I want to tell you exactly how I did it, so that you sitting there, whether you're 20, 40, or 60, don't end up in this same chair, with these same shaking hands staring into a lens trying to warn someone who has already stopped listening. Give me 20 minutes. That's all I ask. 20 minutes from a man who has run out of them. I was born in a small house with a tin roof. My father worked until his back curved like a question mark, and my mother raised 5 of us with whatever was left after the bills took everything. I wasn't poor in love, but I was poor in everything else. And I remember being about 7 years old, lying on the floor at night, listening to the rain hit that roof and making a promise to myself. I said, one day I will be someone. One day people will know my name. I'll have so much money that my mother will never cry at the kitchen table again. That promise became the engine of my entire existence. But here is the terrible truth. That promise was what destroyed me. It wasn't poverty. It wasn't bad luck. It was the promise I made to a 7-year-old boy that I would spend the next 78 years proving I was worth something that stole my life from me. If you've ever felt like you're running a race you can't win, pay close attention to what happens next. I worked. God, how I worked. I was the first one in and the last one out. I missed birthdays, I missed funerals.